Hello and welcome back to the reading log. It is Monday afternoon. It's a rather dreary day to be honest, and work sucked today. So yeah, I'm not having the best of days, but I decided to start the vlog on a Monday for a change. And yeah, I'm currently sitting down here. I have done a little bit of reading and I'm cuddling with the dog because my partner is in the office and then my dog needs way more attention from me for some reason. But yeah, I am still currently reading Star Maker. This is such a weird book. It is by Olaf Stapleton, who lived from 1868 to 1950. So keep that in mind. It is like an older book. Um, but it was written in the later parts of his life. So think like 1930, I think around somewhere there was this one written. Let's see. 1937, so right before the Second World War, pretty much. And this is so weird. Our main character, who doesn't seem to have a name, is like sitting on his in a meadow like next to his home, and he is just thinking about things, and then he just leaves his body behind more or less, and as a non-corporeal being goes into space and just flies around in space. And then he comes to a planet, and there he finds human-like beings living there. And what I read today is kind of the description of how the people are on the planet, and it's just, I don't know, it's a little bit of like the author sat down and was like, okay, what kind of weird and over the top things can I think up and then put them on these people and be like, oh, they weren't as noble as the humans on my planet. It's really, really weird. The people, they aren't the best at hearing, but they do everything about touch and taste, and their private parts can taste and give off a taste. It's so weird. It's creepy. It's just off, you know. You read it and it just feels off. Let me give you a little bit of a taste from how it reads, just because I think it's kind of funny. The sentence where he introduces us to how the taste stuff is functioning. The genitals also were equipped with taste organs. There were several distinctive male and female patterns of chemical characteristics, each powerfully attractive to the opposite sex. They were savored faintly by contact of hands or feet with any part of the body, and with exquisite intensity in copulation. Just, I mean, it's a description of a kind, and yeah, that is how this book is going. I have no idea how this is supposed to continue. Like, I do think he goes to just different planets and just tells what he finds there, but yeah, it's weird. It reads rather slowly, which is why I'm taking my sweet time to get through it. And it's also really weird. And I don't know, not off-putting, but it's like, you know, I read that sentence and I was like, are you for real? And it's not even like the weirdest thing that these people are doing. It's really, really weird. But yeah, if you want to read about like weird things somebody thought about, kind of like alternative human variations, you should read this one. It's kind of made up of that. And then the second book I'm currently reading is Bones Are Forever by Kathy Rice. The next book, I think I have 3 left after this one, so I'm really getting through this series. This one is an especially sad one because it starts with a case. I'm not really sure if I already read this one in German. I'm not 100% sure, to be honest, but it feels kind of similar. But yeah, the case is they get called to a home or an apartment because there's a woman who goes to a hospital, and the hospital staff is pretty sure that she has just given birth, but the woman is like, no, 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 I haven't. I'm just feeling sick. And then the woman pretty much like wanders away from the hospital again, and when they search her home, because it wasn't the first time that she said that, like the first time she went to a hospital and they thought she'd had a baby but she said she hadn't. So yeah, they go to her apartment and they find 3 dead infants pretty much. And that is how the case starts, and that is where I am right now. Like, I'm at page 80, so not like super far in yet. But yeah, it's a really, really sad book. It starts really sad. It's a sad case, you know, but it is, I don't want to say entertaining, but it's a good book up until now. Like, it was a really good read to the point where I am right now. And then I'm listening to two audiobooks. I have like a really big update today. So the first one I'm listening to is the third Lord of the Rings book. I'm listening to that whilst reading that also, because I have the one new edition I'm still getting through. So yeah, I'm listening to that and reading a parallel in the book. And then I also listening to an audiobook that is called Eat, Poop, Die. And it's pretty much about animals and how their lives change our environment. And I don't know how I feel about the book because it's really informative. And it's not only like, oh, this is how it is. It's also a lot of the author being like, yeah, I talked to this person and they had this idea, and then I talked to this person and they see it a little bit different. So in that case, it's really interesting. But it's kind of also hammers down on the effect of like native plants and how like we need to reintroduce species and stuff. And after reading the last book, I read a book, it's not that long ago, that talked about how native species are kind of like a not so good concept, because obviously our world changed so much, and what is now considered native isn't really native if you think about it, because it did come here in a lot of parts, or it just grew later on. Like, it's obviously not from the beginning here. So yeah, I think the part in the Eat Poop Die audiobook, how the author kind of like doubles down on nativity of species and stuff like that, and how our environment changes and stuff like that. I think it's a bit too much at times, but it's still interesting because obviously, it's really interesting to see how animals change their environment, not just because of killing things and stuff, but also like because of what they eat and what they leave behind after eating. So yeah, it's interesting, but I feel like it's maybe a little bit too vague in some parts on the opinion what is like right. Like, sometimes the author just mentions like theories but nothing concrete, which I would have loved to have a little bit more of a concrete answer, but maybe there aren't concrete answers. But yeah, so that is what I'm still listening to. I'm halfway through that, so we'll see. I have like 4 hours left, and I will start this evening again with that one, so we'll see how long it takes me to get through that. And yeah, that is kind of what I'm up to, and what I will hopefully all manage to read this week. That would actually be great if I could get through all 3 or 4 books. The Lord of the Rings, we'll see, it's long, but the rest, hopefully, I will be able to finish. I finished this one, and I think for me, it's the worst point in the series. And I don't know, it's really annoying because the case I actually really liked, but the childish behavior of both of the male detectives in the novel, Ryan, and then there's an Oliver, which she had previous, not really relationships with, but with Ryan, yes, but with Oliver, she just slept with him, I think, for one night, and that was it. And the guys behave themselves so badly, this whole like, oh, she's my woman, and I hate the other guy, and the Oliver guy, I think he's called Oliver, whatever he's called. He's just really like, I will bring you to your room, and she's like, no, you don't need to do that. No, I will do that, and then she doesn't have a choice. She can't get him to back off and stuff like that. It was so horribly annoying, and it was permeated the whole novel so much that I gave it 2 stars, because I actually really disliked that. I cannot deal with that. It was really, really childish. Like, she isn't in a relationship with either of the 2 guys while this novel is playing out, and they both behave like she is theirs. It's really weird. I hate it. I really, really hate it. So yeah, 2 stars. Hopefully the best next one will be better again. But you know what? I'm not counting on it, if I'm honest, because if the situation isn't resolved with Ryan, it's only gonna be this bad every novel going forward. So yeah, I don't know. I hope it will fix itself. And then I continued with Star Maker, and this is just the weirdest sci-fi I've read so far. He's now gone on to the next planet, and then he's kind of describing, like, he's not alone anymore. Like, the guy he shared the head with on the planet that I talked about previously, they now travel together as like one mind, and they find other minds traveling the cosmos, and it's some kind of divine thing, not really divine, but like a fate kind of thing, and they find out that they can navigate to the next mind who can travel with them. It's just a really weird book. It's kind of out there. It's really, really interesting and weird and kind of feels like over the top, and I don't know. I like it. I find it interesting, but it's a weird kind of a book because it's also not really a story, because it feels it kind of feels like a non-fiction book, but it's a fiction book, and it's not really like explaining anything, but like it feels like if you would write like a travel blog of your travels going somewhere. It's really weird. I don't know. But I do enjoy reading. It's just a really different experience to the sci-fi I normally read, if I'm honest. But yeah, I'm like 70 pages in, and yeah, we'll see where it goes. It's still a really, really slow read. But yeah, 70 pages in. It is the main thing I'm reading right now, and then I will continue with my audiobook now. Hopefully I can finish that either today or tomorrow, and then I'm still listening to The Lord of the Rings. So much for an evening update. Okay, good evening. Let's do a quick check-in. It is Wednesday, and I did a little bit of reading physically, but I am fully into listening to The Lord of the Rings Part 3 now. And I cannot get enough of it, so that is mostly what I will be doing. But I did read a little bit more of Star Makers. It is interesting. It is weird. I'm really slow with this book, let's just be honest. But I don't mind terribly much. I might not get through it this week, but we'll see. I mean, I'm like 70 pages through now. It is a slow but steady process. And then I also finally continued with Cage of Souls, and I am at page 75 now. It's still a part where I was before, so yeah, pretty much our main character is just in a prison that is in the middle of a jungle, and it's kind of a mining facility, and he got there because he kind of talked against the government of this planet, and yeah, the jungle is like pretty much fail-safe, so prisoners can't escape because they will be killed by all of the bad things that are in the jungle. I have no idea where this book will be going, or what will be happening. But yeah, it is interesting. I still don't love the concept of like a prison setting. I think it just might not be that interesting to me. I have other books where I also didn't like the setting, but I have hopes that we maybe not stay in the prison the whole time. So we'll see. But yeah, those are the 2 books I'm currently physically reading. And then I'm listening to The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, and I'm currently at the point where where Aragorn has come to Gondor, and he's currently healing the people that need healing, and they are in the middle of the end fight pretty much. And then yeah, after that will come the whole part with Frodo, and I'm absolutely loving it, and I will continue with that now. And yeah, we'll see how far I can come tonight, to be honest. And yeah, work. I had to like work like a second time today, because I had to do some extra testing, and yeah, so I didn't have that much time today. But we'll see how the audiobook listening goes. you know. Okay, so um, ignore how I look. I just finished my workout and showered, got ready again for the day, the rest of the day. But I wanted to give you a little bit of an update. I am now nearly 2/3 through Star Maker, and I don't really know what to think about the book. I think it is really true that in the beginning, I think I told you, I don't remember. But there's an introduction to the book, a foreword, and it says that this isn't a typical novel and that you shouldn't read it as such technically. And yeah, that is definitely true. It reads kind of more like a travel diary, for like maybe a zoologist on like expedition. It reads something like that, just for space and different species on different planets. And so there isn't really like a story per se. It's more like we went to that planet and we saw those people, and then we went to that planet and we saw those people, and this happened to those people, and this happened to those people, and they evolved like this. And then we moved on and stuff like that, so that is how this reads. So it isn't really like a novel type, and I have to say, I don't think I'm the biggest fan of a book like that. It is still interesting because the author had really interesting ideas about what could possibly be out there in like as species and stuff, but I don't think it's my favorite thing to read because it, to me personally, it actually feels rather boring because I know that there isn't really a story behind it other than, oh, this could be out there, and then we try to find the maker of it all. That is pretty much what the book is about. So yeah, I don't really know what to think about the book. It is kind of how I'm feeling right now. My hope is that I will be able to finish it tomorrow, and then I can tell you what the ending is kind of like, and yeah, we'll go from there. But it's still kind of an interesting read because it's so different to everything else I've read so far. But it's not a favorite. Let's keep it as that. And then I'm also kind of quite a way through The Lord of the Rings, which is amazing as always. So I will continue to listen to that in the evening tonight. And yeah, we'll see if I can manage to finish that one this week as well. We'll see. I don't think so. So let's talk about Star Maker. I think this is by far the weirdest sci-fi book I've read. It doesn't really get more interesting towards the end. I think some of the themes in the book are really interesting. For one, that religion always ends in something bad. Like religion starts to, I mean, it's really pretty much how it's in real life. Religions come up, they impose rules on people, they fight religious wars for the religion, and pretty much like make their rules for all of them. If you like follow the religion or not, they don't care. And then the theocracy, oh, is that the right word? But yeah, the kingdom that is like ruled by this religion kind of then dies off at some point. But yeah, there are a lot of like weird war-ish kind of things in here. They get really, like, the descriptions are really, really shallow kind of, but then really in depth at other points. It's really weird. I don't know why he put his focus on some things where he goes really into detail and then not on others. I don't think it's really balanced, to be honest. And yeah, I don't think it's a favorite. I gave it 3 stars because it is an interesting read. But I feel like he really does run into the problem that like all of his words end in the same problem, and you might think that it's realistic, but I personally find it boring. So yeah, that is kind of, I don't know. I think you have to read it yourself to really get what the book is about. And yeah, it's not really a story. It's more of, the like a documentary about what happens in like an ape colony or something like that. It feels really quite like that. And yeah, then the ending is incredibly boring. It's like the ending like takes it all down again. It's really weird. I don't know. I also can't really describe it. It's just, I don't know. It's a weird book. And it's not really a story, but I do think it is interesting to read to get kind of like a feeling for how he saw the world, especially if you think about when he lived. So yeah, I think it's definitely interesting. It's just not something if you want to read a story. It's more if you are maybe into like want to read something nonfiction, but that isn't strictly nonfiction, then this one kind of makes a little bit of sense to read. So yeah, I don't know. But I managed to finish this morning because I had so much time to read, because our dog sadly has an upset stomach, and yeah, sleep just wasn't for us this night. So yeah, I'm incredibly tired. I will now do a workout that hopefully is doable and listen to the Lord of the Rings, because I'm not quite through that one yet. But other than that, I managed to finish everything I wanted to finish this week, which I'm really, really happy about. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this vlog, even though that, no, we had another Kathy Rice and we had a really weird book, but you know, I tried to at least read something interesting. And yeah, hopefully I will see you in the next one, and hopefully you had a great week as well. Bye bye.